Well, welcome in everyone to Betting Weekly Live. It's Thursday, the 21st of August, and we're back, me and James, on the Thursday breakdown of UEFA, Europa League and Conference League. We're still in the qualifying stage. This is the final playoff round, first leg. James, it's starting to get really serious now for a lot of these teams. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Steve. And you're right, it is getting serious for a lot of these teams now. We've had a few rounds to give us a sense of where some of these teams are. And obviously, a lot of the league programs have started over the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe the last month in some cases. So we're building up a bit of form now, getting a slightly better grip on who these teams are and how they're performing. And lots of games across the card today. We won't be covering them all, simply too many to do that. But there are some interesting games to look at and some picks and some leans as well.
Yeah, welcome in everyone, and put down your best bets today in chat, whatever you're taking, Europa League, Conference League, around the world. James is right. We can't cover every game. I asked him to come up with the best picks and leans that he's got, along with myself. So it'll be a streamlined sort of card, but feel free to mention anything. Welcome in Leslie Mack, ZT, Noah Goodman, Ming Chung. I will try and give you some thoughts on the Rosenborg game. I don't have a pick for it, but I will have some thoughts. Noah Goodman likes the Rosenborg double champ. So Moose 10, good to see you. Noah, we will talk about the Palace game, definitely. Every Brilovsky as well. AZ Flights, Leslie Mack, Dynamo Kiev. And yes, yesterday I loved the Bodo Glimt result. I got completely giddy. I'm back to -1, goal ladder, goal scorers. It was a brilliant game for me. And I was just looking back at the significant winners and losers on the sportsbook yesterday. And this is a huge bet, actually. One of the biggest I've seen in recent weeks on the soccer. $69,000 was placed on Bodo Glimt. Team total over 1.5 goals at -286. That cashed inside 10 minutes. So I almost feel partly responsible for that bet.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, listen, Steve, I just interrupting. People who watch you on the show are very lucky because your knowledge is second to none. So you absolutely should. I mean, you banged the drum for the teams in Norway and Scandinavia with your knowledge. So yeah, it's absolutely fair, I think, that you do take a bit of the credit for some of these picks.
Very generous. That one I got right. I want to give a big shout out to Will White as well, who said don't go anywhere near Celtic on the handicap, -2.75.
Yeah,
he said the +2.75 auto bet for him. Reckon it should have been +2 maximum, and it ended 0-0. So you were warned here, chat. There was actually a couple in chat who did say get on the Kai handicap as well. So this is the place to be. We can, and it was the same on Tuesday. Actually, I did say get on Osasuna +2 against Real Madrid. It's a good week for these +2 dogs, James. We need to find like a +2 dog somewhere today to get us winning. Looking up some other ones. Claudio S, the most optimistic bloke in chat we ever have. How are you doing, Claudio? Do you know what? We had a really good start on Betting Weekly Extra Time, didn't we, James? This week.
We did.
The Premier League. Joe didn't get off to quite such a good start, but there's a long, long way to go. There's 37 more rounds.
There's a long way to go. We were all chatting both publicly and messaging each other. Long way to go. It's always great to have a good start. Steve, you were brilliant. Obviously, 3 out of 3, and we've got a profit going into our show. Premier League guys, they know that division inside out. I think it's actually quite difficult, the Premier League, on the first couple of weekends. I don't follow it as closely as they do, but I think there's always quite a few unpredictable results. So a long way to go. Great show from those boys last week anyway. I mean, very entertaining as ever, and they'll be back. There's no doubt about that. They'll be back.
I lost in the Premier League myself. I was on Villa, and I was certainly on the under goal line in the Forest game, and that was dead by half time. So just look, it's really tough. Premier League, it's one of the hardest leagues to bound in the world, actually. Certainly early doors. So, but yeah, we look forward to that show. Actually, should be released today.
Soon.
Soon, yeah. So, welcoming everyone. Loads of people in chat already. Got to remind you about the newsletter. this week. The Insider special edition dropping in your inbox tomorrow. Not just the soccer picks from our handicappers across Premier League and in Europe, but also a US Open special betting guide on the tennis. The final Grand Slam of the season starts, of course, in Flushing Meadows next week. And there's going to be so much content heading your way, including a live special in 55 minutes right on this channel with Nigel, Mitch, and Tim Dennis. Live draw reaction, which is very, very important. It was a brilliant one. We had some great support on the Wimbledon draw, so please do join. Anyway, that means we're a little bit short on time today. We need a quick turnaround, so we're going to crack on into some bets and stuff. And we've actually got more probably leans and picks in the Conference League, but I've got 4 games that I picked out from the Europa League today. The one at the bottom there, Lincoln Red Imps, I only put that in because they're the biggest price at home today. 22-1 against Braga, the team from Gibraltar. The Lincoln Red Imps, what a story they've been, James.
Yeah.
Be covering the big handicap there. But I'm interested if people are actually wanting to bet on that game in whatever fashion. Over 3.5 goals at -106. The 2 Scandinavian teams in action, they're Brann against AEK Larnaca and Malmo against Sigma Olomouc. I'm going over 2.5 goals in both games. Close to evens, -106 and -104. Main reason for Malmo cannot be trusted at all right now. They were shocking in the last round against FC Copenhagen. And this Olomouc side looked like the 6th best team in the Czech Republic. They're in here because they won the Czech Cup, actually beat Sparta Prague in the final. That deserves a bit of credit. And these Czech teams below the 2 Prague outfits do take Europe very seriously. They've probably got a better chance of having a bit of fun there than winning their own league. Yeah. Malmo cannot be trusted. In fact, to such a level where Olomouc, I think that's how you pronounce it. Maybe Olomouc. Someone might be able to put in chat there. I think the +600 on them won't be without its backers. And I'm not going to take it, but I couldn't be taking Malmo at -225. They've been really poor against Copenhagen in the last round. And part of me feels like they'd prefer to be in the Conference League and get in that going. But I do like the over goals. Brann against AEK Larnaca. Brann are a very attacking team in Norway. The 3rd best team in the country, I would say, at the moment. And again, I think there's goals in this game. -148, I wouldn't bet on that because we know what these Cypriot teams are like at the moment. They're absolutely riding a crest of a wave. And AEK Larnaca, of course, did Dan Roebuck dirty in the last round, didn't they?
Yes.
Certainly once and kind of twice a little bit on the handicap level. So
yeah,
I'm going to bet against them. -148 on Brann is not a bet.
Yeah.
Again, I do hope, with my Scandinavian hat on, that both these teams win the game.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned the brilliant Dan Roebuck there, Steve. I was just going to flag up something that Dan mentioned on one of the shows we did, which is the Opta rankings, where all of these teams are ranked from 1 to however big the number gets. And I just thought it was interesting that, AEK Larnaca are ranked pretty high, really 145 on the Opta rankings. I think they're above Brann at the moment. So it's not a game I looked at. And I don't have a pick or a lean on it. But just on the basis of that 2-legged performance that they've just produced in the previous round and their Opta ranking, AEK Larnaca, to me, that top line price on them of +300, well, bigger than +300. When I saw it, I thought that's interesting. So it looked to me like a game that may be worth digging into a bit more. I've looked a lot more at the Conference League this week, but I tend to think that Brann look a little bit short there to win the game.
Yeah, both of them teams look short. The goals, I think, should flow. Brann really attack-minded. The Larnaca previous round was bonkers, wasn't it, for goals? And like I say, with Malmo at the minute quite vulnerable defensively, then I think that match can kick off into something there. Aberdeen FCSB. And I think Dan Roebuck's already put a bet up here on this in chat. He's going Aberdeen draw no bet. But my question there, I'd go the other way, actually, because Scottish football has not impressed me this week, James, at all. Rangers, well beaten by Club Brugge. I actually rate Club Brugge, to be fair. But Celtic only 0-0 against Kairat.
Yeah.
FCSB, they're champions of Romania against what maybe the 3rd, even 4th best team in Scotland now, if Hearts are to be believed. Do you think FCSB are the right price, or?
I'm a little bit surprised. I don't have a pick or a lean on this game, but you're right about Scottish football. It's been a tough week. Rangers losing at home to Club Brugge, Celtic drawing 0-0 at home to Kairat of Kazakhstan, and Aberdeen have already lost 2-0 at home to that Celtic side. So if you look at it that way, it's difficult to make a strong case for Aberdeen going into this game as favourites. They are favourites, aren't they? They're plus money, but they're favourites. FCSB do have more European experience recently as well. So, yeah, it's a tough one. It's one of those games where I don't feel there are enough reasons to back either side, actually, which led me to leave it alone. But I take your point, Steve. It's been a difficult week for Scottish teams. And as I say, you can sort of grade Aberdeen at the moment on the scant evidence we have of the early weeks of the season as below Celtic based on that recent defeat. And if you do that, then for me, it's a game to sort of leave alone and see how the two teams do, really.
Yeah, look, I'm not actually going to bet on this first leg. I put that on the graphic because I knew there'd be a bit of discussion about it in the chat and stuff like that. Didn't quite expect Dan Roebuck to be betting on Aberdeen. And I hope Dan wins the bet. We've got to get behind him now, haven't we?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But in that second leg, I think I'll be looking towards FCSB if they lose the first leg or draw the first leg. I think let's see how good Aberdeen are. I do know a couple of Aberdeen fans actually, and they've got a good manager at least. Their former Wolfsberger boss. They won the Scottish Cup, to be fair, but I'm just concerned about the Rangers and Celtic from this week, and that leagues can get like this where one or two teams have a bad result and the rest of them follow on as the week progresses. Yeah. So let's see how it goes. There was a great comment from Meninda here. Will the two-unit play be renamed the Giddy play from now on?
Right, love it.
Maybe I could store up a couple of 2-unit plays and have a 4-unit play, Meninda. Then I'd be really messing it around, wouldn't I? Effie Brolofsky's come up with some suggestions on bets. Anderlecht money line, Strasbourg team total over 1.5 goals. And another one there that he's put in over 1 goal on the Asian line in the first half at Malmo. I quite like that one, actually. I really do like that bet as well. And just looking at some other sacked Melier goalkeeping coach. He had the champagne out last night with the Bordeaux result. I did as well, and I also had the champagne out when Leeds signed Luca Perry from Lyon.
Yes.
I just had one save to make in the first match. I think he's going to be a bit busier this weekend against Arsenal. Good signing that for Leeds, don't you reckon, by the way?
Great signing. And listen, I've not seen Leeds recently, Steve, but that's an upgrade in goal, right? I mean, I would think Lucas Perry was very good for Lyon last year. So, yeah, good signing.
Some very wise words from producer Troy about the first weeks of the EPL. Absolutely right. It can be very, very difficult early on as well. Noah Gooden would appreciate some insights on Mainz and Strasbourg. Don't you worry. We will be doing that. Michael Taylor, I'm an Aberdeen fan, and I really don't know which Aberdeen will turn up by like Jekyll and Hyde. I have heard that about them, actually. It's quite possible they could be super inspired. What I'll say about all them teams I put up on the graphic, including the Red Imps for that matter, all these teams are guaranteed at worst Conference League. Even if they lose over the 2 legs, they enter the Conference League. So there's a little bit of maybe less pressure to a degree. Some of the clubs will need the money because you get extra money to be in the Europa League. But in terms of actually winning matches and going deeper, a Conference League run sometimes is more beneficial. And speaking of the Conference League, actually before we do that, there is a little bit of money line breakdown in the Brann game. 85% of the money is on Brann, and 94% of the tickets. That stood out to me, James. I think that's a warning. I don't think I'd want to be on Brann. We've had quite a few really, really well-backed teams this week, and they've let people down. I don't think Brann are a bet. Like you said, respect that Larnaca outfit. Conference League, then. We got some picks and leans from you, James, here. We're going to start with the Wolfsberger game against Omonia Nicosia. I have to say, I don't know anything about these two teams, but I know you've been watching them quite a lot. So tell us what you like.
Yeah, so I was on Wolfsberger in the previous round. They looked underrated to me in their previous tie. They'd already started in the league. I felt that maybe gave them a slight advantage, and their price was very big, and it certainly paid off for us because they were defensively very solid against PAOK and drew 0-0 in both legs, where PAOK were pretty short, I felt. So it worked out. I'm actually taking the opposite view here. I think that Wolfsberger now, to me, actually look a little bit short. Now, they have got a bit bigger since the start of the week. I think they were actually minus money on Monday, Tuesday. They were minus 103. Obviously, now they're plus 114, but they're still clear favourites. And my view here would be to probably oppose them now. I think it's possibly a good time to do that. As I say, they did better than I thought, or better than the market thought, against PAOK, but it's important to remind ourselves they didn't actually win those games. They drew them both 0-0. And I think Omonia Nicosia come into it with unbelievable form. And by that, I mean they've played 4 games in this competition. They've won all 4. They've kept 4 clean sheets, and they've scored 14 goals across those 4 games. Now, who have they beaten? They've not beaten particularly strong sides. They won over 2 legs against a team from Azerbaijan. They won over 2 legs against a team from Georgia before that. So you have to take into account the opposition they faced so far. Wolfsberger do look to be a stronger side, but Omonia Nicosia look pretty strong in their own right. So given that Wolfsberger didn't win either of those last 2 games that they had against PAOK, and given that Omonia Nicosia come into it certainly with confidence, if nothing else, from the way they've played so far, I just fancy them here to potentially avoid defeat. So it's only a lean from me, but it's Omonia Nicosia on the Asian handicap with a plus 0.5 goal start at minus 136. I think that would be the way to play it this time. Go against Wolfsberger rather than being with them.
Yeah, I don't think any nation has picked up more coefficient points on the field so far in this qualifying campaign than the Cyprus teams. Now, is that another reason that you kind of quite with Omonia Nicosia because of the way that these teams have been playing?
Yeah, they've been doing well, and I think, you know, had it been a different draw, had we seen Wolfsberger be a little bit more enterprising in those previous games, I would probably see this differently. But I think Wolfsberger, like I say, it was all about the price last time. They were underrated, but then if you look at their actual performance, it was fine. But there wasn't a huge amount to really scare a good side if that's who they came up against next. And I think they are here. So, yeah, I think the price this time has flipped and is really with the opposition.
A poster simply with the number 300492 says, I like Gyor, draw no bet, in the Conference League. A team from Hungary, actually, who I completely dismissed on the Scandinavian podcast I did recently. They beat AEK over 2 legs in the previous round. This Gyor team from Hungary. I know not much about them, but they
playing Rapid Vienna, I think.
Yeah, they're an interesting one. Gyor. It sounds like a name from Star Wars or something, doesn't it?
Yes.
But yeah, they are from Hungary. Ergo Korsic says, what have I missed? He's heading towards Shakhtar Sovetsu. Where is that match from, Ergo? I didn't actually look at that game. I presume somewhere like Poland.
I think Serbia,
Serbia. Right.
So.
Okay. Yeah, well, enjoy the game. I'm sure we've got plenty guys watching who are going to games today. There's so many of them. Have a great time and have a safe time as well, of course. And Ergo says, Gyor are playing very good football these days and won 7-2 over the weekend. These lads could be
a threat.
Interesting. Gyor. Good luck to them. Noah Goodman says, I believe Shelbourne will win again today. Just looking at a few more as well. And he likes Lausanne over 3.5. Efi Brilovsky likes both teams to score over 2.5 in the Lausanne game. We are going to talk about that, actually, quite soon. But someone did ask me some opinions on the Rosenborg game against Mainz. I was actually asked by a friend earlier today, is that Mainz price a trap? Because you've effectively got probably the 4th best team in Norway now. Rosenborg, a big name, of course, but probably the 4th best team in Norway against Bundesliga opposition who weren't far off qualifying for the Champions League at one point. What is Mainz's level? They've lost their top scorer, Jonathan Burkhardt, of course. I would say they're probably about maybe mid-table now for a Bundesliga outfit. But a mid-table Bundesliga team should be beating, 4th best team in Norway. But Rosenborg are a club that have obviously been in Europe a lot over the years. They're going to be a big fan base here. It's going to be potentially a tough place to go. So I can't make up my mind, actually, whether Mainz is a big price or not. I'm not going to bet on the game. I'm going to see how it goes on, actually. Someone did put Rosenborg draw double chance in as a possible bet, but I can't get involved even with a lean on that match, guys. It's just too hard for me. So. Hacken against Cluj. I like the goals in this game. I like over 2.25 at -130 here. We've got a Swedish team from Gothenburg playing on the artificial surface at home. That's important to remember. And you look at their recent games and you might think unders and both teams score. No. But this Hacken team play very open style. A lot of chances missed in their fixtures. So I think this is a return to the overs. CFR Cluj from Romania had a 3-3 draw at the weekend. I mean, based on that match, based on the metrics and the previous round, they didn't do too badly against Braga. I think this could be a game with goals in it. Wouldn't put off anyone taking the plus money on over 2.5 goals. But I think the 2.25 goal line, as I said yesterday in the Copenhagen game, it is a nice little insurance. If 2 goals are scored, you only lose half your stake. That is a way that I like to go. And then the bottom match there, Celje against Banik Ostrava. If you want goals, then Celje matches are usually full of them. So I just thought I'd throw it out there. This one would be a lean for me. Not over 2.5, but over 3 on the Asian goal line. Simply because based on their record in these Conference League fixtures, then your chances of getting a minimum 3 goals are right up there. Okay, moving forward to you got anything to say about those rest of those games, James?
No, I went through them all, had a look at all of the prices, form, couldn't see anything really that appealed massively to me, so I dug into a few of them a bit more, but no, it was just the Wolfsberger on the screen there as we're looking at it. For me, it was just the Wolfsberger Omonia Nicosia game that caught my eye.
Yeah, Omonia Nicosia for a lean for you, +0.5 on the Asian handicap. Let's have a look at these matches now on the board. And you've got an official pick. I think at the moment your only official best bet pick of the day. And it comes in that Lausanne match against Besiktas. We've had a few comments about it already. Yeah. Again, to be honest, this wasn't a match that really caught my eye, but I know the Swiss teams have often interested you.
Yes.
So tell me a bit more about Lausanne-Sport, because I know nothing about them.
Yes. Well, so just very quickly, I'll correct what I said because we did bring it up on the screen there. But if anyone's listening, the Shakhtar Servette game, talking of Swiss teams, not in Serbia. As I said, it's in Krakow in Poland. Very kindly was brought up. So, yeah, and this is the Swiss team that really interests me, Lausanne. Like a lot of Swiss teams, they are domestically involved in a lot of high-scoring matches. Anybody that follows the Swiss Super League would know that usually the average number of goals per game in that league is pretty high. If anybody watches the games there, you often see end-to-end games. Teams can be 2-0 down with 20 minutes to go, and it can end 3-2. So they're generally played that way, and that led me to dig into the goals counts for these two teams so far. And for anybody that likes high-scoring games, you will not be disappointed if you look at how these two teams have fared. So just starting with Lausanne, they've played 8 competitive matches so far this season. 7 of those games have had 3 or more goals. That includes a domestic cup game in the Swiss Cup. It includes 3 league games that we've already had in the Swiss Super League, which have finished 3-2, 4-2 and 2-1. And it involves a couple of previous rounds in this competition where 3 out of 4 matches have gone overs as well. So Lausanne very much living up to the reputation of Swiss sides as being involved in high-scoring games. If you want to look into their scorelines a bit deeper, then actually the XG on a lot of those games has been very high as well. So I think we don't know, but I think we know what we should expect from Lausanne, which is a team who are going to go for the win here, who are probably going to rely on their goal-scoring prowess to get the win more than they are their defensive record, because across those 8 games, they've conceded in 6 of them. And then Besiktas are joining in with the high scoring trend for us as well. People may have seen them playing against Shakhtar Donetsk. They went out over 2 legs against Shakhtar. There was a 2-0 away leg, but the home leg was 4-2 to Shakhtar. Then they faced St Patrick's, and the 2 games there finished 4-1 and 3-2. And then they've kicked off the Turkish league season with a 2-1 win. So 4 out of 5 competitive fixtures for Besiktas so far have had 3 or more goals. Put that together, Steve. I think what you're looking at here is 2 teams who are playing in the same way at the moment, full of goals, finding it extremely difficult to keep clean sheets. I think Lausanne anyway would do that. Whoever they were playing, they'd be pretty positive at home. So I looked at the goal line here. Over 2.5 goals is short and has got shorter as the week has gone on. So I'm going over 2.75 goals, which was, minus 157 is the pick. It might be too short for some people. If it is, you can always push the goal line out to over 3 goals. But I think overs is the only way to play this. It's the way the 2 teams are playing so far. And so it's just a case of finding the line that you're happy with. Minus 157, it's a bit short for almost me now, but that's my pick and I'm going to stick with it. But that would be the way I play it. I saw a couple of the comments there saying maybe even over 3.5. Just depends how confident you are that there'll be 4 goals in the game. But I think it's certainly on the goals front in the Conference League. For me, this is the strongest overs game we've got.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with a minus 157 bet. I mean, just listen to Neil Channing on the dojo. Value can be a bet at minus 500 even. So you've got to pick which line you want. A lot may want to go the over 3 Asian goal line there if they prefer that way. But you want to get some profit if there's 3 goals exactly.
Yes, exactly.
That's a sensible approach. Lausanne, just been doing a bit of research on it actually. It's the 4th biggest city in Switzerland. Quiz question for chat. What are the top 3 biggest cities in Switzerland? I've never been actually to Lausanne, but it looks beautiful. Genuinely looks beautiful on Lake Geneva. Good luck to both teams in that match. Back to the card here. Fiorentina, crikey. Fiorentina and Conference League, they just go hand in hand only. How have they managed this, James, to qualify for the Conference League 3 straight seasons? I mean, it's absurd, really. Anyway, they actually nearly got knocked out, this stage last year. I think they needed penalties against, might have been one of the Hungarian teams. Anyway, they are facing a team who I have really not heard of. Pollissya Zhytomyr. I think they're Ukrainian. Yeah. James, am I right?
You are right.
I know nothing about these guys either. But you have a lean in this game. Tell us about it.
Well, I had a look at it. It's only a lean from me, but I think Fiorentina should get the job done here fairly comfortably. We've talked on the shows in the earlier rounds about the pros and the cons of teams having games in this competition before their league season has started. That's obviously the case with Fiorentina. We have Serie A kicking off this coming weekend. So it's their first competitive game. And that really dissuaded me from making it an official pick because you can't be that sure what you're going to get. But they should be ready for it because they've obviously been gearing up for the league season this weekend. Does it mean they'll rotate here, play a slightly weaker side and instead prep themselves more for the Serie A kickoff? Maybe. So team news may be important here, but there's a huge golfing class between the 2 sides. Fiorentina know this competition inside out. And not only that, but they've been very good in it in terms of consistency from one season to the next. So I quite liked Fiorentina minus 1.25 on the Asian handicap, which is available at minus 130. You'd only lose half your stakes there if they won by a single goal. They certainly have the potential to go on and win it by a couple of goals. And I would be surprised if they didn't win, even if they rotate a little bit, because there is a very big difference in quality here. So it's only a lean, but it'll certainly be interesting for the weekend and the Serie A card to see how Fiorentina fare in this one.
Match played on neutral territory in Slovakia, a city called Prešov. Football Tatran Arena, 6,500 capacity. Apparently the team that plays there are Tatran Prešov. I've never heard of them, but that does help. It's not that far, really, is it? Slovakia from Italy, especially that part of Italy. So this is not particularly a tough away trip for Fiorentina. They may well show their class and get the job done. Brian Donny likes Troy Parrott for AZ Alkmaar. Scored in every round. He's become a really good goal scorer for them, I must say, Brian. And that looks a pretty good bet. Kittanow's looking for 3 draws on the card. Echo Caustic, Fiorentina qualify for the final, then outplay the opponent, then lose, should be evens. Well, that's the sort of route they normally have, isn't it? They promise a lot, the Fiorentina, and then kind of fall short at their final hurdle. Efri Brilowski, yeah, Zurich is one of those top 3 most populated cities in Switzerland. Zurich, Basel, and Geneva for those who were interested, followed by Lausanne. Lausanne, the 4th biggest city in Switzerland. So I never knew that. Just shows you what you can find out. Michael Taylor says also Kieran Bowie to score first anytime for Hibs. Michael was on about the Hibs game. He likes both teams to score, yes. And someone was asking if Hibs are too big in that game. They've got Legia Warsaw, I think. I mean, who knows at home? These Scottish teams might be able to. Hibs, give them some credit, actually knocked out Partizan Belgrade, which no one would have thought they could do that. So let's see how they get on against Legia Warsaw. Dan Roebuck's got to be on the Polish side there, surely, if he's still in chat. Don't you worry, Noah. We are saving Strasbourg for you. They are coming up very, very soon. Jared, thank you very much. Bodo delivered for me yesterday. If they hadn't, I wouldn't have had much money left today, but they delivered for me. Let's have a look at this match then. Strasbourg, Brondby. I mean, for me, I'm going this as probably my best bet of the day, actually, James.
Yeah.
Strasbourg, Brondby. I'm just simply taking Strasbourg here on the -1 Asian handicap.
Yeah.
Personally, I really like them to beat Brondby. But give us a lowdown on Racing Club de Strasbourg. We talked about them a bit on the Future Show, Betting Weekly Extra Time. Yeah. The 2 teams I think could win this Conference League, I'm going Palace or Strasbourg. Yeah. I think they're a serious runner. And they got Brondby first match here tonight.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they are serious runners, and I think secondly they're going to take it seriously. I think Strasbourg want to make a really big impression in this competition, so there's no doubt for me they're going to be up for this game, and I'm ready for it. And that price there of -165 is probably fair. I think they deserve to be clear favourites. Looking at Brondby, certainly some of their fans online are not particularly confident about their chances here. So Strasbourg really pumped up for this. Really big deal for their club to be back in Europe. It's also a big day specifically because they have a new stand. The stadium is being renovated and a new stand opens tonight. So the attendance will be the biggest they've had certainly for the last 12 months. I think it takes them from sort of the 19,000, 20,000 that they had last season when certainly one of the stands was closed. It takes them up to 25,000. So there's still some way to go. They're going to aim for 32,000 seats when it's all finished. But as far as I'm aware, they're opening a new stand tonight. So it should be a really good atmosphere, and they're really up for it. There's loads of positives, generally speaking, about Strasbourg at the moment. They've been very big spenders in the summer, the biggest spenders in League One. Whatever people think about multi-club ownership, they are, for me, benefiting from the fact they share owners with Chelsea, picking up good players from Chelsea. So they're really strong. They've got a squad which is definitely big enough to rotate and stay strong with the starting 11 in a game like this. But Noah's making the point there. Strasbourg struggled against Metz, and that worries me. That is true. They won 1-0 away to Metz in the derby at the weekend. They didn't play particularly well. I was on them. I always felt they'd have enough quality to get the win, which they did with a late goal, but it wasn't a particularly fluent performance. And I think that's partly down to the fact that they've signed so many new players this summer. I think manager Liam Rossigna is going to need a lot more time to work out how to get the team playing. And also, what do I do with so many players? Do I have one team for League One? Do I have another team for Europe? Do I mix it up from game to game? I personally think we'll see 4 or 5 changes from the starting 11 we saw at the weekend tonight. So there'll be good players coming in, but I don't think there's that understanding yet between players. There's still transfers happening, today and tomorrow and this week. So there's still lots of player churn at Strasbourg, and that just makes me a bit nervous because they definitely have the quality in the squad, but I'm not sure we're going to see the most fluent performances from Strasbourg for maybe a month or two. So I favour them tonight. It's a lean for me rather than a pick, just because I'm slightly nervous about how fluent they're going to be. But minus 0.75 on the Asian handicap at minus 134 for me on Strasbourg is a pretty good lean. I'd be surprised if they didn't win. I think they're the better side, and there's, like I say, enough quality in the team, whoever they put out, to get it won. But it's just a slight reservation about fluency and whether the players really know each other well enough yet that stopped it being an official pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take them on the -1 Asian handicap here. A bare minimum, I think they win on the night. The Mets performance doesn't really worry me because they actually got the win in the end. Fair play to them for that. I think they restricted Mets. Did Mets even have a shot on target in the game?
I don't think they did.
No. Like they controlled the game very, very well, and that is a big derby. I was shocked that was the first fixture. Actually, it's normally like a security risk and everything. That game, those two hate each other.
Yeah.
But one thing we've got to mention here is actually Brondby themselves, who have not exactly been convincing away from home in this Conference League qualification. They drew away from home in the Faroe Islands against HB Tórshavn, and they lost 3-0 to Víkingur Reykjavik in Iceland in the previous round. Somehow turned it around at home 4-0 with 10 men.
Yeah. And sorry, Steve, just so they have a very poor away record in Europe going back beyond that, don't they? They've really struggled away from home for a long time. So, yeah, you're right. There's plenty of negatives about Brondby.
The dangers at home, Brondby. So Strasbourg, I think, could do with an advantage today. There's 90% of the money and 81% of the tickets on Strasbourg in the game. 88% of the money's on the over as well. Not sure I would go... I'm not sure I'd bet on the over because I think the 2-0 win could be a possibility, a strong possibility, actually, in this match. Before we sign off, a bit of an interesting clash to finish with. Crystal Palace against Fredrikstad. 30 years ago, this would have been a match in the Cup Winners' Cup. If you remember that competition, James, the FA Cup winners here against the Norwegian Cup winners. Crystal Palace -1,000. They're actually -910 now, I think. So, look, if this was kind of any other team in England, I would almost give Fredrikstad a chance on the handicap. But we know that Glasner is so hell-bent on winning cups and has a great cup record that I think he'll take the match very seriously. There should be a huge gulfing class between the two teams, but this is like another cup final for Fredrikstad. Their fans are absolutely in delirium travelling to a Premier League club. So I think they're going to give it absolutely everything. I thought this could be my like +2.5 goal handicap bet, but I actually kind of wanted +3.
Yes.
I wanted +3 on Fredrikstad. Yeah. And I think I would have bet on it. What do you think?
Yeah, well, you look at the handicap, don't you? And if you're somebody that likes opposing massive favourites at home, then you think instinctively maybe this is a chance to do it. But I think actually, Palace -2.5. Dan's saying there as well, and one of the other comments, -112. They could win it 4-0, couldn't they? So Fredrikstad are not the strongest side. We saw that in the last round when they lost over 2 legs to Midtjylland. And you're right. I think Palace, after all the ups and downs emotionally of what competition are we in and all the rest of it this summer, they just want to get out there and win whatever competition they're in. And I think they'll try and start doing that from today. So I think that handicap line of -2.5 is... If I don't have a pick or a lean on the game, but if I had to, I would probably go with Palace on that. I think one thing to say about this was there's obviously a lot of interest in the team news here, with Eze being linked with a move away imminently. He's obviously been linked all summer, but we think that might be happening soon, and to a slightly lesser extent with Mark Gay in defence as well. So let's see how strong the Palace starting 11 is, and people may want to wait for that before they make a final decision on it. But I think the handicap line is probably fair. And as I say, if I was forced to pick who I wanted to back up -2.5 +2.5 on the Asian handicap, I would come down and side with Palace here.
Yeah, I think the handicap actually will tempt quite a few in. I say I wanted +3 on Fredrikstad, which is obviously nowhere near. It's 2 lines out. -2.5 is backable. Eze +115 to score. I can't believe he'll be involved in the game. By all accounts, it's a done deal to Arsenal, isn't it? But you never know. You absolutely never know. He might get on the team sheet there. James, that's going to have to do for today. Thank you so much for All
Cheers,
your
Steve.
thoughts. But best bet before we go, just remind people.
Yeah, my best bet would be the overs pick. It's the Lausanne Besiktas game. It's over 2.75 goals, and it's around a minus 157, something like that.
Yeah, for me, Strasbourg -1 Asian handicap at evens plus 100 on them. We'll be back next. I think me and you are back next Thursday for the second legs.
Yeah.
Do check out, remember that US Open live draw reaction preview show with a trio of the boys in 20 minutes time right on this channel. Premier League show is going to be released as well this evening. Might even be at the same time. I'm not entirely sure. And then tomorrow, join Dan and Jack. And of course, Betting with the Extra Time will be released tomorrow evening as well. Best of luck, everyone, wherever you are taking today. And we'll see you next time on Betting Weekly Live. Goodbye.